What's up, everybody? I know that a lot of you guys have a lot of questions about what's going on with Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah, and I thought that I would spend a couple of minutes maybe trying to give you a recap of the information that we have at hand. So there was obviously a press conference today where Klopp was speaking with the senior players, Mohamed Salah was there, but we've also heard from Sadio Mane as well, and what we heard from Sadio Mane is probably the more worrying of the two, if I'm being honest with you. So what we heard from Sadio Mane is that he will announce whatever his future holds after the Champions League final. Now, I've got absolutely no issues with a player not wanting to distract the football club ahead of a big European final, but it does kind of make you worry if you're a Liverpool fan. And I know that there are a lot of you guys out there worrying because I've received lots of messages and stuff asking me, do I know what's going on? Here's what we know. And we'll start with Sadio. So Sadio Mane, as per Mohamed Salah, Bobby Firmino, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita, has 1 year to run on his current Liverpool contract. We've heard conflicting reports over the past week or so. We've heard some stuff come out to say that the club are very confident that Sadio Mane will agree a contract extension and that will be signed in due course. There was even some figures thrown around in the media. Now, conflict that to what we've seen coming out of Germany, which is that Bayern Munich are very, very interested in bringing in Sadio Mane, perhaps as a replacement for the potentially outgoing Robert Lewandowski, who looks like he could be Barcelona bound. Barcelona today, interestingly enough, on another tangent here, they've showed their interest in Rafinha, and it looks like they will be trying to bring him in from Leeds as well. So Barcelona obviously have a couple of forward targets in mind, but that means one thing. If Lewandowski moves, Bayern Munich are of course going to want to bring in another forward. And we've seen Sadio Mane transformed since he's been played through the centre by Jurgen Klopp. And his versatility and of course how good he is will be no surprise to Bayern Munich. So they looked at the situation and seen that there's probably a player who is at least £100 million player with 2 or 3 years left on his contract available for potentially, if they can turn his head and get him to move, a fraction, half maybe, of his actual value. So it's no surprise to me that they're interested in the player. It's no surprise to me that any club are interested in our players because we've a good collection of players. So what's going to happen? Well, we know that Sadio has said that he will let people know about his future after the Champions League final. And that's sound. You don't want distractions ahead of the final, but I can't help but feel one or two things has perhaps happened here. Either the club have always planned to freshen up this summer and maybe bring in a younger attacker to bolster the attacking talent we have at the club. You know, we've seen Luis Diaz brought in. That was supposed to be the summer, but that was fast-tracked because of Spurs' interest in him. So we brought Luis Diaz in. But I still think if one of the lads is to move on, and right now, if you're basing what the two lads have said, Mohamed Salah has said that he will be a Liverpool player next season. We'll move on to Mo in a second about what that actually means. But Sadio is a bit more coy at this moment in time. Various European sources, including Florian Plettenberg, I think even Fabrizio Romano and others have spoken about the interest from Bayern Munich in Sadio, and it's genuine interest. It is there. So what will happen? Will he sign? Will he move on? We'll find out in due course. I have stuff that, of course, I get told, like you guys, some of it true, some of it nonsense. So I'm being very careful about what I say here. But at this point, I feel I would be very surprised if both Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah are at Liverpool Football Club by the time the season kicks off at the start of August. Now, I hope they are both here. I got to make that really clear. I don't want either of the lads to move on. I'm on record many times this season as saying I'd like them both to be given contract extensions. But it does look like we're coming to a situation where, unless the club are playing this very, very cleverly, we may lose one of the two. And if you're a betting person, you'd probably edge towards that being Mane right now, with the fact that Bayern are showing that interest, and Mohamed Salah said he'd be here next season. So let's move on to Mo for a second, and we'll try and link this all together then. So Mohamed Salah in a press conference today said that he will be a Liverpool player next season, and he's got no doubt in his mind about that. we're all hoping that that means he'll be a Liverpool player next season because he's about to sign a contract extension that will most likely make him the highest paid player in our club history, potentially even in the Premier League. That would be great. That would be well deserved. Nobody would have any arguments if Mohamed Salah signs on. But what we can't just ignore at this moment in time is the possibility that maybe he means he will run down his contract and could potentially go on a free. Now, that would give the club a year again to try and maybe do what PSG have done with Mbappe, albeit not to the same financial extent, of maybe trying to convince him during that year again that, you know, there's no better place for him than Liverpool Football Club. And if Mohamed Salah has already committed himself to us for next season, well, he's going to be 30 years of age then, heading for 31, by the time he would move on to pastures new. And football could be in a completely different place then. We don't know what clubs could be looking for strikers or for wide players. It looks like Real Madrid are going to be in the market for some attacking talent. But on Mohamed Salah, in one way, I'm relieved to know that he'll be at Liverpool next season because, you know, we all want him to stay. But in another way, we still have no clarification on what he means by that. I'd love to know your thoughts, guys, in the comment section. Let me know what you think from both lads today and what they've said, what you think it means. So I'm going to try and link this all together now in a moment because we need a midfielder. I think of all the positions, if we push aside the forwards for 1 second, I don't think we need a forward unless one of them moves on. So if Sadio Mane moves on, I think we need to go out there and bring in a forward. Will that be a striker? Will it be a wide player? I guess that will depend on what way Klopp wants to set us up next season. But regardless of what happens right now, I've always felt like we need to add a bit more midfield depth, maybe some younger legs. So we thought that maybe Arlien Tchouameni. Now, whilst he hasn't yet committed to Real Madrid by signing his name to a contract, it certainly looks like reports from France, RMC Sport and others have been credited as saying that he's made his decision and he's going to go to Real Madrid. Now, that's a kick in the nuts if he's Klopp's first target, but there are other players out there we could look at. But today when I was watching Sky Sports News, they were speaking about the Chelsea takeover and they were speaking about how Tchouameni was one of the midfield targets obviously Chelsea had looked at. But then another name came into the conversation, and that is Sangare from PSV Eindhoven, who many Liverpool fans believe could be the other midfielder that Klopp is looking at. Now, I've got to be brutally honest and say I know nothing about the guy from PSV Eindhoven, but Chris certainly thinks very highly of him. So my big worry is, and maybe it's yours as well, maybe it's not, again, let me know in the comment section. My big worry is that we're going into a summer that we had hoped we'd add to what we have and that Klopp would get the couple of signings in over the line early doors. But we're going into a summer now where, for me, we have the unenviable headache of trying to secure contracts for players who are already at the club. And if it doesn't work out, we're left scrambling. Now, I've no doubt our recruitment team have plan A, B, C and D in place, but a big part of me can't help feel like this was all entirely avoidable. I don't understand how we've let it get to a situation where Bobby Firmino, Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita are all in the last year of their deals. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, okay, perhaps Alex moves on. If he does, and I think there's been interest shown in him from West Ham apparently, Aston Villa perhaps as well, I wish Alex nothing but the best. But the other four are probably players that, maybe with Firmino's exception, and I don't know what the manager's thinking is there, you would all expected those guys to sign on. Naby Keita, we haven't seen the best of him at Liverpool, but again, to protect his value or to get any type of return, you would expect him to sign a contract renewal. I think he will. When Klopp signed his new deal, there was talk that tying down Mane, tying down Salah, tying down Milner, tying down Naby Keita were all priorities. So hopefully that happens soon. But I'm very worried about the forward situation. I am very worried, and I hope I've nothing to worry about. I hope I don't, but if we lose Sadio Mane, I would say Christopher Nkunku was probably a very good show. Again, it's hard for me or you or any of us to really have a guess at who our targets might be when we don't know what type of a forward Klopp will be looking for. So Darwin Núñez as an example. We've seen figures from him range from 130 million all the way down to 60 million. But there are also doubts about if he's the real deal or not. You've heard Jurgen Klopp speaking highly about the kid, but I've heard other people, Uruguayan people, say that he's a great athlete and he's got pace, but he isn't a Luis Suarez, he isn't an Edinson Cavani. So that has me worried. Jarrod Bowen, is my choice. If we were to lose any of the forwards, whether it be Mohamed Salah or Mane, Jarrod Bowen would be top of my list as a priority to bring in. Federico Chiesa at Juventus, I know he's had, I'm not sure if it's an ACL, but I know he's been out almost the entire season with a serious injury. And if it is an ACL, which I think it is, you have to look at how he comes back from that. Now, obviously, Juventus have gone out there and signed Vlahovic from Fiorentina. There's talk that they could be bringing back Paul Pogba. So you start to think then, will they be looking to maybe move some players off the wage books? Aaron Ramsey being an example. And if Chiesa was available and was fit, it'd be a no-brainer for Jurgen Klopp to look at him. But midfield is my priority. And if there's no Tchouaméni, and I don't know if Sangara is the right fit or not. Bellingham has said that he's going to stay at Dortmund for the next season minimum. You look around then and you think, who is there? Yves Bissouma, somebody at Brighton who I would have happily had us bring in as a Gini Wijnaldum replacement. But yeah, to me, in a week where we're going into a Champions League final, where we've had another fantastic season, where we've 2 domestic trophies, I just feel like there's some unnecessary bad vibes around the club. And look, this is a personal perspective. We all look at these things and view it in different ways. I know some Liverpool fans who fully believe there's nothing to worry about. Both lads will sign on, then Keita will sign on, and we'll bring in who we need to bring in. The fact that Klopp signed his contract extension has put me somewhat at ease, because I've no doubt that Jurgen Klopp believes he will be backed and believes that he will work to the best of our budgetary constraints. So that, as long as Kloppo's here, I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be all right one way or the other. But there's another part of me that is almost intrigued to see how Jurgen Klopp's second great team takes place. Obviously, we've brought in Fabio Carvalho from Fulham. He looks like a wonderful addition. We'll see a lot more of Harvey Elliott next season. Cade Gordon still has to come through and properly break into the first team. I would expect more from Curtis Jones if he stays around next season. Will Caoimhín Kelleher get more minutes? Will be signed Calvin Ramsey from Aberdeen? So there's a lot of potential there to address a lot of these concerns. But I suppose the big question I have for everybody is, do you think it was a mistake by the club to allow our main superstars, from an attacking perspective, to allow their contracts to run right down? Because for me, all the balance of power in negotiations now has shifted to the player side. And right now, I know we like to think that tapping up doesn't go on, but it does go on. And I have no doubt that Mohamed Salah's agent, that Sadio's agent, are receiving money-spinning, head-turning offers from around Europe. And that has me concerned, because this was supposed to be the summer where we pushed on. We've had to kind of hold back on transfers in recent years because maybe Klopp felt like he couldn't bring in people who he thought would genuinely improve the first team. But right now, I'm worried. I'm worried, and I can't lie about it. I'm worried, but yeah, I have belief at the same time, if that makes any sense. I know I'm kind of waffling a bit here, but I'm trying to address the situation that's kind of popped up today. So let me know what you think about Mo. Let me know what you think about Sadio Mane and what you think will likely happen. The fact that we know Mo will be here next season, that's a good thing. That's a really, really, really good thing. I just hope it's not with him leaving on a free at the end of next season. But either way, the fact we know Mo will be here is a good thing. I am a bit concerned, though, about Sadio kind of being a bit more coy around his future. And look, I don't think, and a couple of people have asked me this real quick before I finish up, I don't think that the result of the Champions League final will have any bearing on Sadio's decision. I think, he'll have already made his decision, and I think he's just being respectful, holding off to say whatever that is. So yeah, let me know what you think about the situation. Let me know any midfield or forward additions you'd like to see Liverpool look at. And again, I thank you for your time. I thank you for all your support this season. Do hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel and you haven't yet hit it. Also drop a like on the video for me. And most importantly, I want to say thank you to everybody for another incredible season. We will be live for the Champions League watch along over on Twitch an hour before the game gets underway. We'll have a full programme right throughout the day for you, including watch along, match reaction, player ratings, all the usual stuff. The Anfield Agenda Twitch channel link is in the description below. And again, thank you all for your support, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Lots of love.